I'm Daniela Cambone, and you are watching Kitco News. Next week, CPM Group's coveted Silver Yearbook 2011 will be released. Joining me to talk about the book is the firm's managing director, Jeffrey Christian. Jeffrey, everyone wants to know about silver these days, and my first question to you is it the next .com? A lot of analysts saying that it's a bubble about to burst. What are your thoughts?
I think that silver already is in a bubble. We had been expecting that the price of silver could spike up to $34 or $36. As we're speaking, it's close to $50. If you look at the increase in the last 2 weeks, it's been about $15 from about $35 to $50. And it's clearly there's been an enormous surge of money into silver. The question is how much of that is short-term buying, and how much of that is buying by people who will actually turn around and sell when the price starts to fall. If you look at assets, you can study the financial markets back to the beginning of time, and I don't think you'll ever find an asset that has risen in value as sharply as silver has risen over the last 2 weeks and the last 6 months that did not give up a substantial portion of its increase at some point shortly thereafter. I mean, silver has clearly moved into this capitulation buying phase, and we're just waiting for the economic signals to cause the price to stop rising and come down.
So the correction will bring silver back to which price, Jeffrey?
I would not be surprised to see the price of silver back around $35 by late May, early June, or by August at the latest.
Okay, Jeffrey, let's talk silver supply. How much silver is actually out there? I've heard both sides of the story. In your research, what have you found?
There's some tightness in certain things, like, for example, 4-9 silver bars in the United States. There's some tightness in supply. And then there's tightness in smaller products like maple leafs and eagles for investors. But in terms of silver bullion per se, there's plenty of silver around there. And it's kind of funny that people are talking about a shortage of silver at this point, because while there is less silver in bullion form now than there was in, say, 1980 or 1985, there is more silver in reported silver bullion inventories than at any point since the U.S. Treasury got out of the silver market in the early 1960s. And the reason for that is the advent of the ETFs. So you have silver that used to be held by investors in unreported inventories that today has been replaced with silver held by investors in ETFs which report their inventories. And as a result, you have 600 million, nearly 600 million ounces of silver in ETF holdings. You have another 100 million ounces in COMEX registered depositories that's reported. So you have this enormous amount of reported inventory. The shortage is not in physical silver. The shortage is in investors who own that silver who want to sell at today's price.
Okay, so can we find figures on silver supply in the yearbook?
All of these figures are in the yearbook. We have annual data for the SLV and other silver ETFs, all broken down since these ETFs came into being. We have COMEX registered, eligible, and total inventories going back to the 1970s, I believe. We have other reported inventories and our estimates of unreported inventories going back into the 1970s. All of this data is in the Silver Yearbook.
In your research for the yearbook, Jeffrey, were there any findings that surprised you about the silver market?
I'm not sure that there were any real surprises. I mean, we've made some major developments in the data and the statistical portrait of the silver market. Obviously, the big story in silver is the rise of investment demand and the effect that this surge of investment demand has had on silver prices since last September.
So something that's new this year for the yearbook, Jeffrey, is the Chinese side of the market, correct?
Right. Well, one of the developments that we have in the statistical portrait of the silver market in this year's book is we've incorporated Chinese silver fabrication demand, investment demand, and supply, refined supply, both from mine production and scrap, in our international statistics for the first time. We've been hesitant to do that in the past because we didn't think we had a good handle on fabrication demand, or that anybody else had a good handle on fabrication demand within China. But we've done a tremendous amount of work over the last several years on the Chinese silver and gold markets, and that's allowed us now to have levels of fabrication statistics that we're comfortable with. And one of the things that we've noticed is that Chinese fabrication demand of silver is about twice as high as the Western industry had thought it was in the past, which is one of the reasons why we hadn't incorporated it in the past, because we looked at the estimates that were out there and we said, based on what we know and what we do in China with smelters, refiners, users, and others, these numbers look too low. And in fact, our research has shown that the West was probably underestimating Chinese fabrication demand by perhaps as much as 100%.
Okay, so if someone can't make it out to New York for the Silver Yearbook launch, Jeffrey, how can they tune in?
Well, this year we're launching the Silver Yearbook with a briefing, as we normally do, but we're wrapping the Silver Yearbook briefing into a precious metals mining investment seminar. So it's going to be a full-day seminar in New York in a hotel in Times Square. Kitco is a sponsor. We have other companies that are coming in as sponsors. And what we'll do is we will have in the morning 6 precious metals mining companies that we find, CPM Group finds, as attractive investments for investors. And then at lunchtime we will launch the Silver Yearbook. And in the afternoon we'll have another 6 companies that we find attractive investment opportunities. And so it's going to be a full-day precious metals mining investment seminar with the Silver Yearbook launch in there. Kitco is going to be broadcasting the entire event in an interactive way. So not only will be people can come to our seminar, they can come for the luncheon and the yearbook launch. And if they can't make it to New York but they want to see all or part of it, they can actually tune in via Kitco and they can watch the entire seminar or just the yearbook launch via Kitco's internet broadcast.
Okay, so the event will be broadcast on Kitco.com, and those interested can register beforehand on Kitco's website, Kitco.com, or at the link below. Jeffrey, thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to the Silver Yearbook launch.
It's always a pleasure, and we're happy to be working with Kitco on this project.
Excellent. Thank you so much for watching. For Kitco News, I'm Daniela Cambone.